stories was like the most romanticized thing in my life, and that was that he threw my grandmother's veil out of a moving train and set her beautiful face free forever, and in the bargain becoming my all-time hero also. So that's the view of the world that I grew up with a very, very liberal view. But unfortunately, there isn't a perfect world, I guess. And today we're living in a time of absolute contradictions. And the whole dichotomy is that we're faced with a situation where the world is becoming smaller and shrinking by the moment. It's literally as small as your tablet or your computer top, or information is on your fingertips. But let's all face it that we are living with a very insidious. Now, at different levels, it takes different forms. It could be like a collective consciousness of a people being affected by fundamentalism, very, very slowly, very gradually. It could be, fundamentalism turning into a kind of a fervor and religiosity where the person actually becomes a dangerous person. So it takes different forms, and it is at very different levels. So basically, I think the thing that I really would like to say is that religion should be a personal affair. My faith is not a bad thing. My faith should be as silent and as sacred as my breath. My right to breathe should not interfere with my neighbor's right to breathe. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, fundamentalism has appeared because religion is being used for all kinds of very narrow geopolitical regional reasons. It's being used by politicians freely and mercilessly for electoral gains. And I think people should be sharp about what they want to express to their governments. I think you need to be sharp to say, yes, we want progress, we want this, we want that, but not that. You have to know the difference, you have to be able to see it, you have to be able to see through it. If you're not intelligent enough to see through it, then it breeds a kind of fundamentalism that comes in very insidiously. Now, what really makes a fundamentalist? Basically, I think that when we are born, we don't have a name. We don't have a religion. We don't have a language. We're like pure. That's how God sent us. So you find out from someone what your name is. You find out from somebody what your religion is. You hear the language around you, and that becomes your language. Who is the person who is the closest to the child? And that is the mother. It is a medical fact that by 7, the character of the child is built. Everything else is added on. The greatest scientists have found that by the age of 7, your child's essential core character, how he is going to respond, because that is a time of greatest growth in learning. You're going to build on him. I'm not going to speak on forever, but I think another 2 minutes. I lived in Iran for 4 years, where my father was posted in the beautiful hedonistic days of the Shah of Iran. And I went to a school which was attached to a Gurdwara. Now, I had a predicament because my best friend used to go to the Gurdwara in the morning. So I approached my mother and I said, "Is it okay by you, Mom, if I go to a Gurdwara?" And she said, "It's fine." But then she called me back and she said, "There's one thing. As a Muslim, you cannot, touch the floor in matha teko in front of any other god than Allah. So you don't touch your head." So that was a big predicament because I had to put my coin for my matha teko, and it was very rude not to do that. So I was very worried. So I worked out both gods. I used to put the coin and I used to keep my head 1 inch away from the ground. So my Gurdwara god was happy, my Muslim god was happy. So that's how a child's mind works when it's encouraged. My mother encouraged me. Sure.
Is this something that Islam forbids, or is this something that Hinduism forbids?
Islam forbids you to worship anybody but the unknown. Allah. You're not allowed to
There's no
worship
idol worship.
idol worship, or you're not allowed to worship a form or a picture, because that's why you never see a picture of the Prophet. So the basic and when you put your head on the ground, you really are facing the Mecca, which is Allah. So that was my little childhood thing, and I went for 4 years to a Gurdwara. I don't know whether it was connected or meant to be, because today I have a Sikh daughter-in-law and a half Sikh grandson. So yeah, but the things that I'll quickly run through that you'd really I think that can fight fundamentalism is education and progress. I think when a man has no hope, it's dangerous. You see lumpen elements roaming around. Forget fundamentalism. As women, we can just go off the topic. Even crime. I think getting people employment, unemployed people are dangerous. So that's one area that everybody needs to look at. Progress, fundamentalism is this dark area. You go into it with a sense of darkness, and I think that people who are in the darker situation, the poor man has nothing but his God, and the only thing that can make him euphoric, that can give him a sense of dignity, he doesn't have to pay for it, is his God, and that these people can always be exploited, and it's dangerous. So as governments, I know millions have been spent on international wars, but I would really think the best thing to do would be to spend money on education, because that brings in the light in the brain, and employment. Yeah. So all the best, and I have a quotation which I hope I find. No, I haven't found it. There was this lovely line by Sting, the singer. Let me just find it. So I'll quickly give it and pass you to Shazia. Without the voice of reason, every faith is its own curse.
Sorry, what's that?
Without the voice of reason, every faith is its own curse. And this is from a song by Sting. And I thought it would be,
I have
interesting.
a question.
Sure.
Do you face political pressure or pressure from the hardcore Islam community? Do you face any sort of pressure that you're more liberal? Are you ever torn apart?
Not at all. I come from a family where where my husband's brother's married to a Gujarati, my husband's sister's married to a Bengali. I believe in multi-faith. I've worked along with the Buddhist community for the longest time, and nobody's really approached me, because I just remain one step away from. I'm a very free person. I would get into trouble if I went too much into religious groups and all that. So you choose your own friends, you choose your own people, and you gravitate to your own kind. Never have I felt a pressure. I think India is very free. Everybody has the right, and I think that freedom of thought is what we need to protect at all times. Freedom of faith, freedom of religion. I can worship who I want. And I spend a lot of time on Buddhism as well. And just quickly, I'll share with you. I think all of you probably pray. Yeah, you all pray.
Yeah.
So, I feel a child should go to all places of faith. So I've taken my children to almost every place of faith, like I did. I think that was the best thing that happened to me, that I wasn't just going to my place of faith. Because then you tell him that, okay, it's okay for you to, this is your faith, but this is your friend's faith. He's fine too. And the other thing is that I don't believe in praying. I think there's nothing more selfish than sitting there and pleading with God for something for yourself. I mean, I believe that it's important. I run this NGO, and I'm connected to about 40 NGOs where I do trainings. And I feel that those people, there's a girl who brought a box of sweets for me, and she said that you've given me a livelihood. That's her stop praying for me. That's the only prayer that will affect you. That's what I believe. Maybe I'm right or maybe I'm wrong. But I think that, and my son was once saved from an accident where, my son Sharik, where he fell from 15 feet high in a motorcycle accident. And the drivers and all were just standing watching. He went in the sky, he came down and he was held by a tree. And just that day, that girl had come to me a day before with a box of sweets to thank me. And I said, it must have been the hand of God. It must have been her prayers. So just pray by doing things for others, I feel.
Right.
And set your mind free.
Happiness.
Thank you.
And I see you
Shazia.
practice it every day, you know. You live
Practice
what you
it.
speak. I mean, I've
Just
seen it up
practice
close.